Connection. It's what we want. It's what we need. But making it happen isn't always so easy. Trying to connect, it's like shouting out to be heard across a vast chasm. Your words, your feelings go nowhere until you get close enough to be truly heard. The art of connection is about building a bridge across that chasm. I'm going to talk to you about how to build that bridge and what the science says are some of the principles of meaningful connection. And if you'd like to see my sources for this speech, I'm more than happy to provide them at the end. So what creates real depth of human connection? Why do we connect so deeply and easily with some people, yet so shallowly with others? Why even ask this question? Well, of course, we all want to have better, deeper connections with the people in our lives. But the science says we also have a fundamental need to connect. It's central to our health and well-being as humans. A meta-analysis of 148 studies on social connection by researchers at Brigham Young University found a 50% higher risk of mortality for those with weaker social relationships. They concluded that meaningful connections are comparable to the likes of smoking, high blood pressure, and obesity in how they impact our health. So if you think you can maintain your health by eating well, exercising often, yet never really connecting with other people, then you're almost certainly mistaken. Now, connection, it turns out, is a skill. And like any other, it's one you can hone. We've all experienced it, haven't we? Those moments of deep connection before. We recognize what it feels like. And there's a way for us all to build even stronger bridges over those chasms. There are three fundamentals to building stronger bridges or deeper connections. And actually, it all starts with the self. Yes, the first step to take is not out into the chasm, but away from that ledge and deep into yourself. The materials with which to build your bridge are mined from within. Now they are your life stories and your emotions. To connect with people at the deepest level, you need stories, said author and lecturer Robert McKee. So know your own story. Now that includes the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of your past, the latest chapter in your journey, and your hopes and dreams for the future. And reflecting on your own story is getting to know yourself just as you would another person. Now, entwined in our stories are our emotional experiences. The practical challenge here is learning how to translate your emotions and stories into language you can understand, slowly building up a fuller picture. Because you can never hope to convey your true emotions to others without first understanding them or being able to interpret them yourself. But once you can, your bridge will be grounded in solid foundations. How then do we continue building up our bridge so that others might meet us in the middle? This is the scariest part. This is where we need vulnerability. To truly connect is brave, a risk, a bold step into the void. When we open up to others, we open ourselves to potential ridicule, humiliation, and pain. And yet, connection is two people sharing deeply with each other. And for that to happen, someone has to take that first step of opening up. Ultimately, we have to realize that it's worth the risk. To achieve real connection, we have to be willing to show our true selves when others may actually reject us. That's not easy, but the more you get used to it, the easier it gets. The reward of meaningful connection is worth it. So we've understood our story and shared it vulnerably with others. But as I mentioned, connection is reciprocal. your bridge will be brittle and break unless two stories are intertwined. Which brings us to our final fundamental. Listen. This is the hardest part of connection, because to truly listen, you have to be open to being transformed. And that's hard. True listening requires a setting aside of oneself, said renowned therapist Scott Peck. We all form initial assumptions, don't we, about other people? And doesn't it take so much effort to cast away those assumptions? It's so much easier to just not listen and stick to the beliefs we already have. And also, don't we get so easily distracted when trying to listen? The average person can speak at around 225 words per minute, but we can listen at up to 500 words per minute. With all that spare capacity, avoiding distraction starts requiring serious effort. But if you're not fully listening, you're not understanding. I really like this one from Stephen Covey. Most of us don't listen with the intent to understand. We listen with the intent to reply. Now, wasn't this a really potent reminder to get out of our own heads, set aside our ego, and focus on the task of really hearing what the other person is saying? Let's draw all this together. Most of us want to connect more deeply with the other people in our lives. And it's not simply a matter of desire, it's also a fundamental part of our health and well-being. Connecting, it's like building a bridge across a chasm of understanding between two people. To connect is to build that bridge strong enough to give both people the confidence to inch across, and in doing so, bring their understandings closer. To do this, we first need to understand ourselves. Then we can start to be vulnerable. And then, crucially, listen. We are made to connect. The elements of modern life may get in the way of these three principles, but with a little effort and awareness, we can build beautiful bridges that truly last. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for that lovely, lovely speech.